Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a more personal video, which I like to call things people are too scared to ask about, and it's all things about the implant contraception. So it's all going to be my personal stories about the implant, periods, etc. So if you don't like that kind of conversation, you might want to click off now. However, girls, like so many people, whether they're older than me, younger than me, always, like, if they find out that I've got the implant, they always message me and ask about it. So I wanted to do a big video because I realised like not enough people know about it and the side effects and does it really hurt and everything like that. So firstly, I want to address that just because you've got contraception or you're asking about contraception does not mean you are a slut. I hate using that word because it's completely wrong. It doesn't mean that, and it doesn't mean you're sexually active. Firstly, if you are sexually active, then it just means you're being sensible, so well done to you. You're much better than the people that aren't being sensible. And if you're not, I know plenty of people who go on contraception for spots, for period pains, for moods. So it does not mean that you're sleeping around and stuff like that, because so yeah, it does not mean somebody is sleeping around, or people shouldn't think that that means you're sleeping around, because although the doctor will ask, it's not what's on their mind, because at the end of the day, it is for safety, it's for periods, it's not just an excuse. So I'm quickly going to discuss my periods before I went on the implant. So I started my period when I was 11. It was just a once-off period though, and it didn't come again regularly until I was 12, and that's when it started coming regularly. So I was quite early when it comes to starting your periods, but they were completely fine, completely regular until I got to 14, and they started getting super painful. I was getting the worst period cramps. I would have 1 month where I'd cry, 1 month where I'd be very angry, and it alternated every month. It was very regular that way, that 1 month I was angry, 1 month I was sad. The pains were getting worse as I got older, so by the time I was 15, they were unbearable. Like, I would be on the sofa for like 2 days in pain. I barely could go to dance class. One time I went to dance class, I had a ballet class, and I had to have a hot water bottle in my leotard because I was in that much pain, and I was on the strongest painkillers. Anodine didn't work, Feminax didn't work, nothing worked for me, so I had to use Anodine Ultra, which is like the strongest Anodine they do, and 2 of them would ease the pain but nowhere near like get rid of it. So I was always really struggling. So by the time I got to 16, I decided it was time to find some sort of contraception to try and sort this out. So I looked at all sorts of types of contraception. I looked at the pill, I looked at the injection and the coil. I wasn't keen on the idea of the coil for my first ever type of contraception. I didn't like the idea of going back every 3 months for the injection, and I didn't trust myself with a pill, and there's so many different types of there's so many different types of pill that kind of concerned me, that I didn't know like what if they gave me the wrong one and I got really bad side effects, because I know people that period pains got so much worse on the pill. And then also I didn't trust myself to take it regularly enough, and I might forget one. So then I looked into the implant, and I was super nervous at the idea of it, because obviously like it's a bit scary, the thought of like getting it put in and get it taken out, and also people I know had gained a lot of weight from it. I knew, and someone else that I spoke to said that they bled for quite a long time with it, but all I knew is that it was, you put it in and 3 years, and then it comes back out and you put another one back in for another 3 years. So I was like, it's kind of the best bet. So I arranged my appointment and kind of took a risk. If you are close to your mum, or even if you're not, I would definitely recommend talking to them before you call up the doctor and make any decisions, because I promise you they have been through this, they know, and they do, like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're best friends with your mum like I am, obviously it was so easy just to go up and talk to her about it, but if not, like, your mum will know, and if she doesn't know personally, she'll know someone else who's been through it. So when I spoke to my mum, she said, oh, your godmum, she had the implant, why don't you speak to her? So I went and spoke to her about it, and of course, the doctors and the nurses are super helpful, and they give you so much information. But in my case, the people around me, like my friends and stuff, were so much better than the doctors at the beginning, because they had a lot more information and honesty when it came to telling me all about it. So you call up and then you get an appointment for a call consultation. There's so many flies in here. Get the fly spray out. So I had my consultation with the doctor, and he was not the nicest doctor. He was slightly judgy about my relationship that I was in at the time, and although I told him that it was nothing to do with the relationship I was in, it was all to do with period pains and PMT and stuff like that, he was quite like, you know, he really wanted to know about my relationship, and he spoke to my mum and dad about it, which was a bit overstepping a little bit, but obviously that's just what my doctor was like. But everyone I have spoken to, all my friends that are on any sort of contraception, didn't have an experience like that at all, so don't let that put you off. I just want to be honest that my consultation wasn't the nicest, but so many other people's were just completely normal and really helpful and so nice and supportive. And then I got booked in for my appointment, and when I went in, the doctor was super nice, and he didn't overbear at all, and it was the same guy. So obviously I was a bit nervous at first, but he was really nice, and I think he was just having a bit of an off day on my consultation day. So I'm going to go into detail about the implant and getting it put in, because people seem to get really freaked out about it, so I want to tell you exactly how it is, so people know exactly what to expect. Firstly, people seem to think that the implant might be up your bum, or inside you somewhere, that, you know, somewhere down here, but it's not. It's in my arm. I've got a scratch there, but it's in my arm right here. You can see the little, like, tiny little scar where it was stitched up, and it's there. You can feel it, and some people get grossed out by the fact you can feel it, but if you've got a piercing, like for example a belly piercing, it's like rubbing the bit in your skin there. It feels exactly the same as that. So firstly what they do is they get a local anaesthetic, and they give you an injection, which is just a normal injection. If you've had your jabs, it feels exactly like that, or if you have had any sort of local anaesthetic before, it literally is just quick in, then you wait and he talks to you about other stuff, just like what you're doing that day and what you're doing afterwards, and then he will get a biro. Shh. Banjo. Then you'll get a biro or a pen to test if you can feel it, and you'll say yes or no. In my case it was no, and then he got a tiny little needle and just poked to see if you could feel that. Again, no, you couldn't. And then he gets the implant thing. I chose to look away because I thought staring at it would be a little bit like intimidating, but my mum was in there with me. The implant itself is quite big. It's about this big, so it is big, and it isn't like an ear piercing gun. That's a good way to explain it. So if you got your ears pierced with a gun, it's a bit like that, what they use. They put it here, and then it goes like an ear piercing gun, exactly that noise, and then it pushes in. You feel pressure in your arm here, but no pain whatsoever, just a pressure like someone's really squidging right on your bicep. But it's nothing unbearable. Like I said, it's just a pressure. And then he gets some butterfly stitches, stitches you up where the scar is, and you have to wear a bandage around your arm for, how many days? 2 or 3 days I wore the bandage, but then obviously you wear the butterfly stitches until it's completely closed up, so they'll come off naturally. And yeah, that's it. That's the implant going in. I think even explaining it does sound a bit scary, but it's nothing serious. Like, it doesn't hurt whatsoever. Like I said, you're under local anaesthetic. If you don't look, then you don't see it going in. It's just a pressure. It literally, it's like someone's pressing on a pressure spot, like without the pain. It's just a big pressure. That's all I can explain it as. So once it goes in, it works straight away. However, they do tell you to wait 7 to 10 days just to make sure it's settled in your arm before you do unprotected sex, for example, if you're going to, because although it does protect from pregnancy straight away, they want to give it a little bit of time just in case the hormones don't set off quick enough. But yeah, so if you're in a long-term relationship, obviously that means that there'll be no more pregnancy scares once it's in. However, it doesn't protect from any sort of STDs or STIs. None of the contraceptions do, as far as I'm aware, so you still have to be careful in that way. So, please wrap up if you're with someone you're not regularly with. But pregnancy wise you're safe, STI wise not safe. So at first I thought this was the biggest mistake of my life, because although I had no pain whatsoever, I was spotting for 3 or 4 weeks, which is not ideal at all, because spotting is the worst for me personally, because you don't want to wear a pad or a tampon, but then you also can't wear nothing. It's the worst. So I was like, oh my god, this is such a mistake. So yeah, there was no pain with the spotting, but as soon as it stopped spotting, I was period free from, oh, it must have been August straight through till, I think I got my next period in November. So I had 3 periods, no periods then. I had a period in November, which was it was just normal, like it was quite light though, so I didn't have any heavy bleeding. It was light, and the spotting did last a little bit longer than usual, so I think my period went on for like 8 days. I used to get like 3 to 5, I was very lucky, so it went on for like 8 days, but the rest was just spotting. Then it stopped again, and then I didn't get one again until March, so that was in lockdown, and the March one was painful, which was kind of a shock because I haven't had period pains and not had to deal with period pains for a long time. So in March, it was like 1 day of like pain, but it wasn't anywhere near as bad as they have been. It was just like an achy tummy. But as soon as I took just a normal Anadin, and it was gone, which is so much better than it used to be. And that lasted 3 days, so that was good, and there was no spotting with that as well, which again is unusual because usually you would get a day of spotting, but none then. And then I've just had one recently, must have been like not last week but the week before, so like quite recently I've just had one, and that one was painful as well. So that was, I had 2 days of pain there, but it was kind of just like a shadow tummy ache. Again, nowhere near as bad as it has been, but it was more painful, and I did have to have a heat pad on, and I did have to take an Anadin Ultra rather than an Anadin Extra, so the pain had got a bit worse. But for the fact that I got no periods from August to November, then November to March, then March to May, I was quite chuffed, and I didn't mind having the period pains because I was like, that's like pretty much period free, and that's kind of great. I'm not gonna lie, especially as a dancer. So although there was a little bit of pain, it wasn't anything like terrible. So basically, I think I had a period in December as well that I forgot about. I think it was really short though. So I've basically had 4 periods in the year that I've had my implant now. So that's pretty reasonable, especially for the fact that I was getting them very regularly every month, very painful. And I've only had 2 slightly painful recently, but it's been so much better, like, oh, so much more bearable and so much nicer. As for the side effects, I think I did put on a little bit of weight, which obviously isn't great for self-esteem, but I was underweight before I got the implant, and now I'm a healthy weight. So I haven't actually like changed body-wise at all, but I've put on about half a stone, I think. I mean, it is only half a stone, but at the same time, if you don't like putting on weight like me, that is, you know, sometimes a bit crap, but it's dealable, and it's very easy to lose again, apparently. Everyone that I've spoken to has said that as soon as you get your implant taken out, you lose all the weight and your periods go back to normal straight away. There's no complications, which is amazing as well to know about the implant. So yeah, 3 months if you are sex-active, pregnancy free. Sorry, did I say 3 months? 3 years pregnancy free, less periods, lighter periods, less painful periods. My moods have been slightly better, which is so good because I was appalling when I was coming onto my period. Cravings have actually got better. Like, I used to get really bad period cravings, and I don't get them as much anymore. And yeah, so pretty much it's been all good. I've got 2 more years of it, and then I'll either get it taken out or get a new one put back in. I think I'll probably get another one put back in for another 3 years because I'm kind of completely happy with how it is. And with the weight gain, it's only half a stone, like I said, and I work like pretty hard on my body as it is, so it should be easy to like tone up / lose again. So just to round up this video, stay safe, keep talking about this because it's very, very important. Again, remember, you're not STI free when it comes to contraception, so stay safe and be careful, but just know that this isn't something to be ashamed of, it's something that should be spoken about. All girls go through it. So why don't we all talk about it? You know, girls stick together. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, message me, or if you have anything else that you would like me to address as a topic, then also let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys very soon. I love you all. Bye bye.